Hey everyone, this is Thaddeus, also known as Thatheisonebillion. Thank you once again for coming towards my channel. Of course, if you're a repeat type of person at my channel, you already know that the goal is to get over 1 billion conversations of intellectual conversations. Because far too many times do we see on the internet, no hate against Twitter or anything of that sort, but Twitter and Instagram, and we be seeing so much negativity just happen time. So this is a place for us to not only be able to comment about what's one thing that we learned and what's one thing that we like, but to also be able to have the conversation with each other about how we get better, what we're learning from what we're seeing, and just be able to build a community based off of that. But no further ado, you hear more than likely because you saw, of course, in the title, Steve Harvey. And with Steve Harvey, most of us know him. If not, now he's known for having towards a show that's called his name, the Steve Harvey Show, and he also has a TV radio show, a radio show which is inside of Atlanta, which you can listen to on podcast for if you live anywhere else. And he's known for, of course, his comedy, from what's called the Kings of Comedy. He used to do the Showtime and Apollo when he first started off, and he used to do the Family Feud show as well. And so that's just a little background about him. He's a comedic, but he also speaks a lot of wisdom and gives a lot of advice towards younger people, towards not just motivation as in getting what you want, but anywhere from that to people, towards God, and even relationships. So without further ado, let's get ready to add him on board right here. Alrighty, and let's get ready to start.
Listen, getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us as his children the power of choice. You have a say-so in that. You can decide to be rich, and with God's help, it's highly doable. But you first have to think it. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is here. I'm no better than none of y'all. I'm not a better person than you. I'm not a better Christian than you. God don't love me more than you. None of that. If you want to be successful, you have to change this. This has to change. Listen to me. It's not what makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you.
Uh-huh.
The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter what your children think. It don't matter.
Truth be told.
They have nothing to do with it. This decision is yours and yours alone. It's two people born in a hospital every day. It's a person that's born in the hospital that's going to get a job, and somebody born in the hospital that's going to give them a job. You get to decide which one you're going to be.
Dang. For starters, one thing that, and to further elaborate towards what he's saying, it's not just motivational talk, just him just saying that, oh, get up and do this and work very, very, very hard and you become this. He haven't mentioned it. I don't know if he's going to do it on this video. I haven't watched this video before. But Steve Harvey, he's not educated. He didn't he didn't graduate from college. I'm not even sure if he really went. So the if you have the perception that you need some type of public, private school, whatever education, in order for you to be educated, for you to be successful, Steve Harvey's living proof that that's not the case. And what he's saying is that For example, the analogy you just made, he just said there's a person who's born, two people that's born every day in the hospital, just choosing in between two. One of them is going to be an employer, and the other one is going to be the employee. Either roles towards if you desire either or is fine. But are you in a role because that's what you want? Or are you in a role because that's what you believe that's all that you could do? So just think about that for a second. And now that you thought about it, think about which position do you truly want to be in. So yeah.
You get to decide. Let me tell you something. You get to decide if I'm going to be rich, poor, mediocre, plentiful, happy, sad. You have a decision to make. Your mind, all right, here we go. This is the teaching moment. Let me give you this so
Okay,
you can get on with your 2019.
Wow, that's when it's made.
You walk in the house, you pick up the remote control. Let me teach you how this works. And you press the power button. When I told you 2019 will be the best year of your life, but you have to claim it. You have to expect it to be the best year of your life. You have to live your life with expectation that great.
And one thing also to add to is what he's saying right now. He's saying having expectation. So what he's saying about having expectation, what you mean expect success. So oftentimes we just hope and pray. And we pray not with the surety that it happened for us, but we pray with the hopeness that it happened for us. I say that again. We pray for the hopeness of something to happen instead of praying for the surety of something happening for us. Prayer is being sure. Prayer is putting faith into God, not just because we want something or we're trying to get out of something, but having the expectancy that because my God is the God, there's no other God. No matter what you feel about this, we're all been created and we all came from somewhere. We didn't just pop out of somewhere. We didn't boom and it happened. And we just so happened that everything be aligned. The universe is set up through laws. Everything is set up by some type of law, some type of structure, some type of something that had to be created. Anyway, and so for you to be able to get towards what you want, you have to have an assurity that it too will happen for you, but with the expectancy of it being there. Of course, in order, you say you want to be a certain type of person. You want to be, for example, say you're a man. You want to be a high value type of man. What's a high value man to you? To me, a high value man is not just someone who's financially put together, looks good, but being able to take care not just towards the household, but to be able to represent towards what a man is supposed to be. As in, I will say that is confident, intelligent, an assertive man. A man that's intelligent and confident are two things I think is a very good thing that children need to see within adults. As an adult, being confident in what they're doing and how they're leading their family, household, whoever that it may be. Intelligent because even if you feel slow or something, intelligent, I mean, slow doesn't mean that you're dumb. It just means that you learn a little bit slower. But intelligent just means, honestly, that you are very skilled, as in you're very intelligent into your craft. You don't have to know everything, but it's just about whatever that you're doing. Are you an expert into what you do? No matter what everybody else see you as, you can be barely be able to read. And Steve Harvey talks about this before, as in he had this very bad speech impediment when he was growing up. He'd be like, he was that type of person. But now you wouldn't be able to really tell. You can be, you can't even, you say that you can't even read, but you're a skilled carpenter. As you know how to cut, you know how to build this and that. You may be seen as uh, illiterate in one way, but no one can say you stupid within your craft. You see what I mean? So that's just what I'm interpreting from him. And so that's just really what's important for you to be able to grasp for yourself.
Things are coming your way. And that's how it works. Now, let me teach it to you. You grab your remote, you press the power button. What do you expect to happen? You expect the TV to come on. Guess what? It come on. If you want to see Sports Center channel 46, and you press 46 and OK or select, what do you expect to come on your TV?
All right.
Sports Center. And guess what show up?
Living in expectancy.
Sports Center. They got the concept of creating a remote from the Bible. See, God is tied to all of this. You better understand what I'm trying to tell you now. The Bible says a man is as he thinketh. God created us in his image. God thought of this world. He thought of it, so he created it. So he made you just like him, that your thoughts can create things.
Right.
He made you just like him. Now, you can't go make earth and heaven like he did, but you can make a better world for yourself.
We did.
Wow. That's so true, just what he's saying right now. It's I want you to think about what he's saying. As in, we are created in God's, not just God's image, but we also created in God's ability. Now, of course, we can't go out there and create a whole earth and stuff like that. Um, but we have his like abilities and powers. So what do you mean, Daddy? So what I mean is, yes, you created an image, but you also have one ability that no other animal, thing, whatever on this earth doesn't have, that we have. And it's the power of the ability to be able to change our environment. What you mean? We're the only beings on this planet who is disoriented in where we are. A bird naturally blends into its environment. It's in harmonious instinct with its instincts. It doesn't have a choice but to be a bird. A dog doesn't have a choice but to be a dog. That's been domesticated by people. That's a whole different thing. A bear has no choice but to be a bear. A fish doesn't have no choice but to swim. But we have the ability to not only imagine, but to create something from the unconscious mind to the subconscious to the physical world. Only you have that ability. And because you're a living, you're a pure representation of that right now. Don't say that I can't. Instead, say, how can I? Just like what you see in the background. It's the truth. You cannot place limitations amongst yourself because the only limitation we truly have are the ones we impose on ourselves, even with the awareness of it. How many of us know that we have a problem within something, a limitation, a procrastination? We know how to solve it, but we just choose not to do it. Why is that? Is it because you don't really believe in yourself? What if I were to tell you that you don't even have to believe in yourself to be able to achieve something? What you mean? Just because you possibly don't believe in yourself, which is okay right now at this moment, not to stay that way, but to be aware that you are in that place. Even if you don't have complete faith in yourself, the fact that someone else, God Himself, and people in your life you probably don't even realize that believe in you. You are a very powerful being. You are a reflection. You are a brand. When people see you, they make 6 to 7 assumptions about you. Now, is what you show to people what you want people to think of you? Yes, that's great. No, that's fine as well. because you can change your image towards who you want to be seen as. And if they don't like it at that point, then that's on them. But it's about, where do I want to be in my life and how do I want to feel? Because oftentimes it's important for us to do the things that doesn't just feel good as in a moment, but feels good on a heart filled level, a purposeful level, I would say. That's what's important. Just like what Steve Harvey was saying about the remote. When you press the remote to turn on the TV, you have an expectancy for that remote to turn on. When you pick up your phone, you have an expectancy of the phone turning on. Now, oftentimes we attract things into our lives that we don't want more than the things that we do want. Now, why is that the case? In my hypothesis, I say the case is because we think about the things we don't want more than the things that we do want. For an example, we'll say something like, oh man, I don't want to fail this test. I don't want to fail this test. Oh man, I don't know. And then turns out, oh man, you failed the test. Why is that so? Because you have the focus on you failing the test instead of you having the focus on, man, what happens if I do pass this test? When you change the way you look at things, guess what? Things change. Change the way that you say things and the way that you think. When something looks a little bit expensive, instead of saying, oh, you can't afford that, think to yourself instead, how can I afford that? Because that's what's most important. Don't have a limiting mind, because most of this been drilled into us. We've ever heard the saying, money don't grow on trees, even though technically it does. You ever heard, which is a good thing, eat all your vegetables on your plate and stuff, don't leave nothing on the plate. Oh, yes, it's a good thing for you to finish your plate, but that all started from more of the Great Depression type of era. And the main reason for that was because, of course, it wasn't nothing else. It came from a scarcity mindset. So what happens if you remove yourself from a scarcity mindset? If you remove yourself from a scarcity mindset, just imagine the ability, if what happened instead of if I would fail, what happens if I could not fail? What if I tell you that truly you cannot fail? That when you do actually fail, that it's a decision, it's a choice, conscious or not. Now we're on a different level. I'm about to get back to Steve Harvey, but it's just to let you know, did you know that you failing and you succeeding is a conscious or unconscious decision? What do you mean, Thaddeus? What I mean is this, that if you know that you want to succeed in something, whatever that it may be, but in your heart you have the fear of failure, you're going to fail. And guess what? It works vice versa. You can be failing the whole time, but if you have in your heart, you can see the end in mind, which means you can see the end goal, you'll win. But either or, you're going to have trials that appear to be failure. And at the moment that you want to quit, that's the moment you have to push through. Because on the other side of that door is what you desire. So he getting ready to get more into it, but I just had to let you know. I had to get that off. Just it was speaking to me. Steve Harvey speaking to me, and just everything that I just gave to y'all, the value, is just what I felt that needed to come out.
The scripture, Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry, Tarry mean take a long time. Wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time.
Mm.
That's in the Bible. That ain't in the rich people's copy. That's in everybody's Bible. The problem is everybody don't do it. But it's right there. But you got to do it. I'm just telling you, if you don't do it, it's too hard. It's almost impossible. That vision board has changed my life. Everything I put on my vision board, I get. Everything. Now you have to understand something. It's not going to come when you want it to come. It comes at an appointed time. That's the trick. But the appointed time is what throws people off. Because when you ask God for something, he sends it. He ships it immediately. Soon as you ask him something, you really believe he'll do it? He boxes it up and he ships it to you immediately. The problem with the package is he never gives you the date that the package is going to arrive.
Wow.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. Because if he told you the date that the package would arrive, it would destroy the requirement he has of all of us, which is faith. Faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. So if you ask God for $1 million and he tell you I'm gonna give it to you in March of 2020, you wouldn't need no faith. You'd be talking to people crazy because you know in 2020, I'm finna be a millionaire. But he sent $1 million as soon as you ask for it. But it's going to come at an appointed time. The problem is people stop waiting on the package. Then when it get to you, because he delivers only to Faith Street, when he delivers to you on Faith Street, but you done stepped off of Faith Street, you over here on I don't see how circle. He don't ship there. Instead of staying on Faith Street, you done stepped over here to I don't believe it Boulevard or it took too long Avenue.
I can think to myself how many times that I've been on Faith Street and that I've done stepped off at moments where I knew if I would have stayed on, things would have worked out. So just think to yourself right now, how many times have you stepped off of Faith Street? No, don't even just think about that. Think about how many times that one time that you stepped on Faith Street and that something actually worked out, even though you didn't see how. We all have that one story to us that pops first in our mind. That one time we stayed on Faith Street and it actually worked out, and somehow we didn't know how. We didn't know how it was going to work out, but it just did. Imagine if we do that all the time. The power of faith.
Then the package come to Faith Street is just like the post office and FedEx. If you ain't there to receive it, it got to go back. That's how it works, man. You have control of this. This belongs to you. This is yours. You're the captain. You're the master. You're the foreman. You're the general. You're the head. Don't give control of this to nobody, especially the devil. Do not let Satan come in here and function and operate, because he has one mission: to keep you off course, to make you not think it's possible, to make you think that God don't hear you. His job is only to destroy you, to make sure that you don't become what God intended for you to become. That's the mission of the devil.
Honestly, we can just really just stop it there. As in, of course, I'm going to drop the link to the original video. But I just want you to think about that by yourself. Excuse me. That he said the devil. And the great thing for you to look up right after this video is a video named Outwitting the Devil. I say again, Outwitting the Devil. There's audiobooks all over YouTube about it. And it's basically a conversation between the interviewer and the interviewee, which is literally the devil. And you get to see throughout the whole audio towards how the devil, or I just say negative entity, because I'm not even gonna give his name power. How the negative entity, how he controls majority of the population, how he's able to keep doubt, fear, which is false evidence appearing real within your spirit, or at least your body, because your spirit is pure and fear is an illusion. And he really goes down into that. Steve Harvey really just right now just saying towards how the mind can truly be controlled over fear, especially if you want a prime example between the year of late 2019 to early 2022, when the whole world was supposedly in fear. How many people did you know, if it wasn't you yourself, who was in fear? Fear of getting sick, fear of your family, loved ones dying. Not if you didn't do this, you couldn't work. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. How I'm going to provide for my family. High gas prices, food shortages, etc., etc., etc. Imagine if instead of having fear, we use our logical mind, our logic mind, to be able to not react to our outside environment, but to respond to our outside environment. Reaction and responding are two different things. The difference is reacting is like an instinct. If someone slap you, you slap them back. That's an instinct type of thing. Unless you got that flight mentality, then you someone else. I can't relate. But if you respond to something, you're able to collectively think and you're able to make an educated decision instead of a instinct type of thing. That's just really what that's about. The analogy about getting slapped probably ain't the best one. As in, for example, it is a reaction thing. Someone hits you, you want to hit them back. But if you think logically as well, when you do hit them back, you're going to think about how I should do it instead of just swinging at them. Or if I should just, instead of just hitting them, I tell the proper people. Like, hey, no matter how you feel about it, I feel a little different about it, just for an example. But it's those type of things. So really just from this, one thing he also said is write it down and make it plain so for he will see it, run with it. It's basically saying about writing down what you want to see yourself as. Don't just write down what you want to become, as in what you want to have. Oh, I want this car, I want this house, I want the Bentley, I want the band, I want the Rolly. Like, that's all cool, but those are all just physical things. Once you get one thing, you get tired of it, you're going to want something that's better. It's a never ending cycle. We see people with wealth say it all the time, as in all my money didn't take care of my billable problems, but it doesn't take care of life problems. Just think about to yourself. It's harder for people like ourselves because I'm not rich yet. You're not rich yet. We're not wealthy yet. But one thing for us is harder for us to think about is if we didn't have the problem of money. If you had all the money in the world, as in you had just enough to pay for everything in your life, and you can just swipe your card and you know it's going to go through, where would your focus be instead? You notice people with wealth, they have very creative minds, which all of us have because we're creative beings. Well, God's highest form of creation. We're built to create. So because that we're built to create, think to yourself right now, if all of my obligations was always paid for, where would my creative mind be doing? What would you be doing? You're not just gonna be sitting around all day. You're probably gonna do for the first, I don't know, week or two or whatever, when you first start having that extra that money, everything's paid for. But after that, what is it? what do we do next? When we have people who have nothing but time to be able to create because all the other obligations are taken care of, guess what they do? They live in their purpose. They live as being a creative being. It's what you are. Have faith in yourself. Because even if you don't, people like me have faith in you. But most importantly, God has faith in you. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't put you on this earth. And that's the truth. So, from that family, that's the end of this video. Once again, if you liked anything that I said or what Steve Harvey said or both, drop down in the comments below. Excuse me. Drop it down in the comment section below. And from that, of course, why is because we're starting over 1 billion intellectual conversations with people who care and not just care, but want to build something from like-minded individuals, because you know your network is what your net worth. And of course, as well, subscribe. That'll do a ton to be able to make sure that more people, as in yourself, who want more in their lives, can see more of this type of content. Because yes, we react, we respond towards these reactions. But in between these videos, I would assume the reason why you watch, because the reason why I like to watch reaction videos in the first place is because I get to see the perspective of another actual human on something that we can relate about. Because it's like watching a movie. We like watching a movie. We wouldn't mind watching a movie by ourselves. We'll still enjoy it. But isn't it much more fun when we can watch with someone else? Someone else that we can relate to, having an inside joke about? I know I do. It's the same way that we feel. So if you feel that same way, drop a like and subscribe. And share it to your friends who you feel that needs to see this as well. For too many of us have now a microwavable mindset, as we've been taught through social media to look at something for 0.5 seconds and keep scrolling. And we'd be feeling happy, but at the same time unfulfilled. It's like sugar. It's super great for that moment until you have a sugar crash, sugar rush, and you basically, now you feel fatigued. It's the same thing. So from that family, I love each and one of you. This is Thatheis, aka Thatheisonebillion. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, same title, Thatheisonebillion, and also now up on TikTok. So same name. So from that family, love you very much. I look forward to seeing y'all on the next reaction video. And just like what you see in the quote in the back, do not say I can't. Instead, say how can I? How can I become this? How can I become the person that God seeks for me to be? Until next time, family.